started Go Off in 2019. I originally had a podcast through WTBU, which is the radio station in the College of Communication just down the street, and it was our podcast was all about the unrepresented Gen Z perspective. So we'd cover things like why young people don't vote, why is everybody my age obsessed with the TV show Friends from the 90s. And so a lot of my friends wanted to be guest appearances on my little podcast with the listening population smaller than a lecture hall. And I kind of asked them, well, why? Like, I'm flattered, but why? And they all said, well, I don't feel heard. I don't trust the internet. I don't like the internet. I want a place where I can actually authenticate my voice. Then the other observation I started to notice was that I myself would go down rabbit holes looking at subreddits, New York Times comments, and being like, gosh, I'd love to chat with these people. They've got really interesting things to say. I don't want to just have this asynchronous conversation through a comment thread. And I thought, where's a place that can happen? And so I basically was just like one day, well, Go Off, the podcast needs to be Go Off a company. Basically what Go Off actually did was after lots of iterating and figuring out what's the most natural way you can interact online, we found that small capped conversations live, capped at 10 people, were the best way for people to interact with each other. And so we offered a video version and we offered a texting version. And so basically it was geared towards content creators where they could actually host conversations with their fans. And then we would take the insights of those conversations and make them actionable to help content creators reduce their time content creating, and then more time where they could actually hopefully get more engagement on their distributed channels because they foster deeper interpersonal relationships with their fans. So I came to the Build Lab and I just kind of looked online. I was like, Build Lab, I'd passed by this place a million times on campus, didn't know what it did. And I just thought, well, maybe they'll know a little bit more about this than I did. And so I came in saying, hi, I'd like to start a company where people feel heard. They said, okay, well, that's cute. Here's a business model canvas, which is just basically like a first preliminary exercise that you do when you're starting a company. And I became really obsessed with the idea. The Build Lab had a lot of programs that kind of helped, prove out the idea. Is it valid? Is there a problem space? Is there a solution that's feasible? So really kind of giving me the training wheels to actually give this a go. Everything from legal advice to industry expertise, alumni connections to get more support. So I think the Build Lab was kind of like that first place to really just learn, okay, how do I start a business from scratch with nothing? Learning about financial models, learning about marketing strategies, go-to-markets, everything from product development, operational things like, okay, when you onboard a new person, giving them an offer letter, all of that stuff. They kind of housed here and then provided resources of experts, whether it was at the business school or outside. At that time, I think we just got incredibly lucky, but I think also it was an idea that felt big enough where we're like, wow, we could actually see this changing the world, but we believe that we could actually do it. And so I think that's kind of one of the big factors, at least with Go Off. We've never had an issue recruiting. I think the biggest piece of advice is use college to find what you really want to do and what you really like to do. It's not even about want, but what you like. And then if you're good at it, great. And then find opportunities to showcase that. If you just focus on the process of whatever you decide to do and just get really into it, that's all that matters. Try out a bunch of different things, figure out what you like, figure out what you don't like. Don't come here and not take advantage of all the resources. If there's something that you're wanting to do, no one's gonna stop you except yourself. Use what's available to you.